Greetings, everybody. My name is Nixxiom, and today we have a very, very special podcastly-tacular episode for you all. Today we're going to talk about the devil's lettuce, the green nasty. I, of course, am speaking of marijuana. Crendor, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. I almost thought you were gonna say, I thought you were gonna go like a different direction, and then you went.
I wanted it to begin it like, remember back in high school when you were a kid, and you'd be in like your health class, and your teacher would be like, "Now, kids, I'm gonna put on this video, all right?" And they put on the video, and it's like some like dude standing in like the fog, and it's all dark, and he's like, "Weed, just one puff will kill you." You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that, or the Dare program.
Dude, absolutely terrifying. Like they would show like, I don't know about your school, but my school, they'd be like showing people with like their like chests ripped open and their lungs hanging out and them going like, and you'd be like, it's like, this could be you. It was horrible. Like,
yeah, that's
I had
not
nightmares.
fun.
Yeah.
Like you went to where did you go to school? What state? You're in North Carolina, so it's like the South kind of.
Yeah, I'm in the South.
Yeah, so I feel like the South is more opposed to weed too, because it is very like devil's lettuce, right? You don't want
you don't want
the Bible Belt. Jesus didn't get high; he just made wine and got drunk. Is the Southern thing?
No, Jesus never drank.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, actually, didn't he have like? I feel like he would have occasional wine, but he wouldn't like get drunk, right? That's what it was.
Honestly, I don't remember. It's been a long time since Sunday school.
Because the Bible, I think the Bible said you're allowed to drink, just not get drunk.
Yeah,
Which
that would make
at the same time, it's like, at what point are you drunk?
Like, like tipsy? Is that okay? Like,
yeah,
you know.
Like, otherwise, Jesus wouldn't just make wine out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, like, people were thirsty.
Started making weed out of grass, so he picked up some grass and became weed. They're like, oh shit,
this guy's amazing. Invite him to all the parties. No, like, well, like, because back then, like, the water was full of nasty and stuff, and then again, nothing has really changed. And so usually people would drink beer and wine because it was better than drinking the water, which was typically full of like chamber pot poo.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
which you would just get dehydrated more, I guess, but they didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Actually, fun fact, we're supposed to talk about weed, but fun fact, I remember watching a documentary, and apparently, apparently, medieval alcohol, like beer, had something in it. I don't remember what it was, but it was some sort of like their brewing process made their beer like very what's the word I'm looking for? What's a word for like you experience great pleasure, like ecstasy?
Satisfaction. Oh, ecstasy.
Ecstasy, satisfaction. It essentially, medieval beer, like when you drank it, it made you feel like, it's not like modern beer.
Euphoric?
Euphoric. That's the word I'm looking for. It made you feel euphoric. You'd be like, yeah, dude. And I don't know. It was a long time ago. Shut up. But you didn't answer my question. How you doing today? I'm going to sip my Red Bull.
I'm doing pretty all right. I ate some salsa earlier, and that kind of aggravated my IBS. But aside from that,
yeah,
I'd been pretty good. So I know not to eat salsa.
That's good.
Yeah, and I've just been, having a good 2020 so far. Just trying to get everything in order.
Yeah, I smoked a cigar today.
Nice. How was that?
It was good. I smoked a Sandoro Colorado, my favorite kind of cigar. Still is my favorite, even after all these months. And kind of like your salsa, it has like a bit of a peppery taste the whole way through, so it's a little spicy. And I like that. That's my favorite kind of cigar, fun fact. I like a nice little spicy cigar,
I know you said you're filming some cigar reviews, so I'm excited to watch those.
Yes, we can talk about that in another episode. But me and Friend are probably gonna make another channel to touch on another niche. So for those of you guys that like the podcast, you get this channel, and for those of you guys that like what is coming, you'll have a channel for that too. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Oh,
yeah. But today we're here to talk about weed.
yes.
And because in our last podcast back on our main channels, or whatever, we mentioned, like, we talked about weed very briefly, and we talked about like our first ever like weed smoking like stories, and people in the comment section were like, dude, you got to share those stories. Like, it'd be such a good podcast. And so we're like, all right, and we'll embarrass ourselves. Why not?
I figured it'd be a good 2020 intro celebration too, because now weed is actually legal in Chicago and Illinois.
That's right.
So
yeah,
I can now, just like, wine or whatever, I can go to the weed store and just buy some weed. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, dude. What's that like? Have you done it?
I was gonna try it out and be like, hey, let's see what this is like. So I drove there, and it had about 500 people in line.
Oh my god. I can imagine.
I was like, I think I'll come back on a day where it's like people are at work, and like a weekday, or like at like 1 p.m. or something, where people are at work and they don't want to go out of their way, because this is like, it happened on New Year's Day, and then New Year's Eve, or the day after New Year's was like a Friday, so a lot of people are still off, and then Saturday, and people are still going to go. So I think once, the hype dies down and then people start just getting back in the swing of things, then I can go, and there won't be an ass load of people out the door.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like when anything new happens, like a new video game comes out, like everyone's got to have it, but eventually it'll slow down and no one will care anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
it'll be
weed, whatever.
Yeah, like, it's just, and a lot of people are like, you're part of history now. I bought the first weed in the state and stuff like that.
Oh, bravo.
So
tell your grandkids.
I bought the first weed.
I was there when they legalized weed. Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's it's taxed out the ass.
Yeah.
So
dude,
you pay like 50% tax, but it's for being able to actually go buy weed. It's like, whatever. No, it's just starting out. So it's and you know what you're getting, which I guess is another thing, is most people just buy weed from like their friend Dave or some shit, and Dave's like, yo, got this shit, and you're like, where'd you get this, Dave? And he's like, I know a guy, and he knows a guy, and then it's like, all right,
okay, I know a guy under a bridge.
So so now you can go there, and they're like, hey, this is from our dispensary thing, and it's made out of like purple derp and fucking coffee swag, and you're like, ooh, all right. So it's nice. So I wanna try that. But it's kind of cool.
All right. Well, I mean, neat. I mean, you'll definitely have to share your first legal weed experience at some point in a future podcast. But let's talk about first time ever smoking weed.
All right.
I'll have the audience know that I actually only smoked weed for the first time. Like a month and a half or 2 months ago.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah, it has not been that long. I've never, to quickly explain why have I never smoked weed earlier, it's a very simple explanation. I just didn't give a shit. Like, I was like, yeah, like, whatever. Like, I don't care. That's not really my thing. I don't care. But it was offered to me, and I was like, all right, I don't care. So I like smoked it, and some crazy shit happened. I got kind of fucked. I got fucked up. Well, I feel like I did the intro, so I feel like you should like tell the story. You should be the first one to tell a story. What do you think?
Yeah, but you just talked about how it's your first time and you got all this crazy shit. Now everybody wants to hear your thing.
Well, I can like build anticipation. It keeps them listening to the podcast,
All right, sure.
That's all right, unless you really want me to.
I don't care.
All right, go ahead. You go.
All right, I'll go. Screw it.
All right.
So I think the first time I smoked weed was like probably 3 or 4 years ago.
All right.
And I remember because I'd never tried it before, and we were sitting there watching. We were gonna watch Aladdin, and his toaster woman was like, I've done it a few times in the past. Like I just wanted to try it again. So I was like, I've never tried it. So she was like, all right, so just you just do this, whatever. So I took a hit, and I was like, I don't think it worked.
Yeah.
And then I took another one. I was like, I don't think I feel it. And she was like, I mean, it takes a bit of time. And I was like, all right. So I waited a few minutes, still felt nothing. And I was like, I don't think I feel it. Like in my mind, everyone talks about how like, oh my God, you get these great ideas when you get high. You get like, you become like an artist. You become crazy. I was like,
yeah.
And I was like, I don't feel that. I just kind of feel like kind of lightheaded, I guess. I don't know. I'm looking around, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took another hit, and I was like, whatever. So we started watching Aladdin, and I think then it hit, because then I just started laughing for no reason. And then I don't even remember half the movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I just like, it just like blacked out. And I was like, wait, I don't remember this happening in Aladdin. But like when we watched it again, like 2 days later, and I was like, wow, I guess
you had never seen Aladdin?
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd seen a lot of other Disney movies, but just never Aladdin.
Okay.
And it's whenever Aladdin had just came out on DVD or whatever. And so I was like, all right.
Wait a second. Now, when you say you watched Aladdin, you don't mean that live action bullshit, do you?
No, like the actual.
Okay, all right. The actual real movie.
Yeah, the actual real movie. But there was one of those things where they're like, coming out of the Disney vault, you can now buy the actual Aladdin movie. So apparently, like, you couldn't even buy it on DVD up until that point.
Okay.
So it was a thing. And yeah, so that was my first time.
Okay.
And I remember my lungs burned too. I was like, oh God, my lungs burn. And I like focused on that for a long time. It gave me anxiety. So it was an okay experience.
Mine was a bit more extreme. Like, yeah, I kind of got fucked up. Like, I mean, if you're done with your story, I'll share mine.
I am done with my story. That's pretty much it.
Okay, and then we'll share like other weed experiences. But, dude, so I'm at my girlfriend's house, and they had just, her and her roommate had just like found this new weed dealer. I was there when they found this lady working in this store, and so they bought some weed from her, and drove back to my girlfriend's house. They're gonna smoke it, see how it is. They start smoking. They're like, oh wow, this is some real good weed, and I'm just sitting there just chilling, whatever. They're like, oh, we also got to watch Indiana Jones. They really wanted to watch Indiana Jones, so they put on an Indiana Jones movie on like her phone because we're sitting outside on the back patio. I think it was the second Indiana Jones movie, whatever, I don't remember. They put it on, and then I'm just sitting there, and they look at me and like, oh, like Nixxiom, you wanna smoke that weed? And I was like, all right. Now keep in mind, like, all right, you talked about a little bit of anxiety. I had a bit of anxiety before I tried weed because, like, what I was thinking was, number one, the primary thing going through my mind is like, what if I smoke this shit and I'm like allergic to it or something?
Oh yeah.
And I just like put it in my lungs, or like, what if this thing is like laced with something? Like, I don't know. It's like a new weed dealer. So whatever. But I mean, they seemed fine. So they gave me the little whatever, the little bong or whatever, and I took a hit, a half decent one, I guess. And I was just sitting there, and I was like, okay, didn't really feel anything at first. And, just like you were saying, Toaster Woman told you, oh, it takes a minute. I was told the same thing. I just remember sitting on the chair, and, like, the upper part of my legs sort of, like, went, not numb, but they just really relaxed. So, like, my legs felt really, like, just relaxed. And I was like, is that it? Like I didn't feel like any different. It's just my legs felt relaxed. So I was like, well, is that it? So I was like, let me get another hit of that. So I took another hit, and that time I sat there for about like 15 minutes. I'm watching this Indiana Jones movie, and I still don't really feel that different. I don't remember exactly how many hits I took before things really started to take effect, and I realized that I had made a horrible mistake. But I think it probably was about like 4 hits. 4 big hits off this bong. After like my 3rd or 4th hit, it might have been 3. I don't remember, dude. Like it's kind of fuzzy. I just remember my face started going numb. And I looked at my girlfriend and I was like, because she looked at me, because I was just like, at this point, I'm just like sitting back in my chair. Like, I'm just like, dude, I'm just like sitting, you know, like,
Yeah.
I'm just like there. Like, and she like looks at me and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I just smiled at her and I was like, dude, my face is numb. And I was like, is that like normal? And she's like, yeah, your face going numb is pretty normal. And I was like, oh, cool. And so it was like my whole body was just super relaxed. And I remember laying there and I, just like, you know, you said you watched Aladdin, I'm watching this movie, but I am like not watching this movie. Like it's going in one ear and going in my eyes and just going straight out. Like I'm too focused at being like one with the universe and shit. Like and I remember sitting there, and the most bizarre thing. I don't know if you experienced this, but I remember sitting there, and I couldn't think of anything negative, which was so weird. Like, what were you gonna say?
I said I don't think I've ever had that actually.
Dude, every single time I've smoked weed since then, it's the same effect. Like, I cannot think of anything negative or like anything depressing. Drama, issues in my life, debts, whatever. Anything that might make you like anxious or stressed or anything. No, it's like it just will not process. It's like you start thinking about it and it's gone. And at the same time, I also couldn't think of anything that made me overly happy or joyful, like spending time with my friends or my family or my girlfriend, you know, riding a bicycle, anything. Like it's gone. Like as soon as I would start thinking about it, it was just like I was in the moment, and you couldn't think about anything else other than the moment, and it was really bizarre. And at that point, I knew that I was fucked up. And also the fact that, you know, my girlfriend and her roommate looked at me and they were like, dude, you were like fucked up. Because I started getting a little crazy. Like I told one story, or I started telling a story on one of the previous podcast episodes of what happened, but a lot of it's a blur. But I remember going into my girlfriend's room and I began to like, I just started going on this rant about air. You know, we were talking about like Jesus earlier, and I was like, this is a true story. None of this is bullshit. I started going on this huge rant. I was like, dude, like air. Like, have you ever like thought about air? Like it's everywhere. And then, you know, my girlfriend, you know, she's like, yeah, honey, you know, whatever. She starts talking about something, and I like cut her off. I'm like, hold on. I gotta finish this thought. I was like, dude, like, air is everywhere and we can't see it, but air has like mass because it's made of stuff. So like, what if God uses air to push us to where we need to be? You know?
Whoa.
Yeah, like what if like, because the air, it like gently pushes on you, but you don't even realize it's pushing on you because it's so like near weightless, but it has just enough mass that it can like direct you to be exactly where you need to be at the right time. And what if like air is the hand of God? Or what if air is the expression of fate or the tool of fate that takes us places? I was fucked up. And so it was like a 15-minute rant about air and how like it's just the hand of God. Whole time my girlfriend's just sitting on her bed, just looking at me in like deep concern. So I feel like I had a valid point. So
honestly, I can kind of see where you're coming from.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, if we were all fish, lakes would be islands. Like, and the oceans would be continents. Isn't that wild?
I remember I had one time where I smoked weed to like fall asleep, and I took a shower, and in the shower I had a thought where I like got this song in my head, and I couldn't get it out of my head, and my mind was like, this is it. This is all I can think of for the rest of my life is this song, because I can't change thoughts.
I remember you telling me this, yeah.
Yeah, and it happened for like a minute, and then I thought of something else, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Dude, a similar experience when I was, all right, like, well, let me go in chronological order. First was the air speech. Then I became Noah. Like, dude, I had a religious experience when I smoked weed the first time. Because, like, what then happened is I crawled into bed with my girlfriend. We're laying next to each other, and we're going to go to sleep. And my dog, Lucy, she sleeps with us in the bed, but she will not get up in the bed, And so I'm like, my girlfriend, she's like, Lucy, like, get in the bed, like, Lucy. And she's just, standing there down on the floor, just looking up at us. Lucy. And I'm just laying there, like, looking at the ceiling. And I'm like, Lucy, like, come on. Like, daddy needs you. Like, come on. And she won't come. And so eventually, my girlfriend, she's just like, oh, well, like, she'll just sleep on the floor. And I'm like, no, I'll get her up here. So I just got up on my knees. I'm, like, naked and shit. And I get up on my knees on the bed, and I'm like, animal, I am Noah, and this is my ark. Get on the ark. Get on it. I'm just, like, screaming at my dog to get on the ark. Get on. Like, flailing around a little bit. Dick is doing the helicopter, the whole 9 yards. She did not get on the ark. Yeah, she was scared. I was scared. Everyone was scared. It was great. But then I remember I laid back down in the bed. I got covered up and tucked in. It was nice. And then just like what you said with the song, I remember I was laying there and this song came to my mind. And it's a song I've never heard before. But it was like the greatest song ever. And it was just playing in my mind. And I was like, yeah, just jamming. I was like, dude, this song's so good. Like, fuck. Like, I love this song, man. Like, girlfriend's like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, dude, this song, like, in my head, it's like the best song I've ever thought of. And then I fell asleep. I don't remember the song. I don't remember the lyrics. I don't remember the beat. I just remember it was the greatest song ever. And I passed out to it. Yeah, dude. It was a good night. Yeah.
It's kind of weird too how weed makes you just laugh at like things that aren't funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had it where I was looking at my Steam library and I was just looking through and I'd see something like some random game like Age of Mythology Extended Edition, and I would just look at that and just start laughing. And then I'm like, I don't even know why I'm laughing. It's just Age of Mythology Extended Edition, but it just makes you laugh.
Extended. Yeah. Dude, and I don't did you your first time, did you like ever or like maybe a time when you were like really silly with like someone else when you were smoking weed? Did you ever like have a moment where you were sitting there and you were like, I don't even know if I'm actually high or if I'm just like goofing around. Like I'm just acting like a stupid
Oh
stoner.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
had that because I'd test it by like looking around, and I'd like look left and right and up and down, just being like, "Am I high?" And it would just look really dumb.
yeah. Well, like even when I was laying in the bed during like this, the first experience, my girlfriend would be like, "Dude, you are so fucked up. You smoked way too much for your first time." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm not high. Like I'm just acting like kind of silly. I'm just acting like a stupid stoner." Like, and she's like, "Nah, dude, you are fucked up." And like that's when I started doing like the Noah shit. Like, dude, it was crazy. I just remember the next day I was driving home and I was told that like weed stays in your system for like 24 hours. And so like I was driving home and I was still like I remember I had like a relapse where it's like suddenly I got like high again as I was driving and I was just like, yeah, and I felt real chill again and real relaxed. And I remember on the ride home just thinking, oh, I see why people do this. Like I totally get it now. Not something I want to do on the regular, but I totally get it, especially that whole I can't think of anything negative. Because like
Yeah.
that
Well,
was like, oh yeah.
I think I'm kind of like that where it's not something I would want to do every day, right? Like
Yeah.
I know some people that do it every day, all day. I know some people that just do it every day, but like for me, it's kind of like every once in a while, you just be like,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
And I think that's the healthier way to go about it. As long as it doesn't control your life, essentially. I think that's for most things.
Of course.
Because I mean, there's other things people get addicted to, like pills,
Yeah.
which I think is honestly like a pretty scary thing to get addicted to. Because I mean, when they gave me for my gallbladder surgery, they gave me like 30 painkillers,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I would limit myself to like two max a day,
Mm-hmm.
and that shit was like, I mean, it's like
Same
a
thing for me.
form or like oxytocin, whatever it is. It's like Vicodin.
Yeah.
That you feel like whoa, you get like high, but you're like a happy high, and you could be like, wow, I see why all the suburban house moms like
Yep.
why they do this shit.
Yep.
Because like I remember I always tell the story. I was playing BFA, and I
Okay.
was in the auction house, and it was right after I got my toenails removed, and I still had like 5 left. So I was in pain for my toenail thing, and I was like, I'll just take one. And so I was sitting there with my toes wrapped up, just sitting on the chair, like playing the auction house in BFA. And I was like, dude, this is so much fun. And I'm so happy right now. And that's when I realized how powerful that drug was.
Yeah, dude.
I was having fun playing BFA.
Dude, I think we talked about it in one of the previous podcasts before we made this channel, but for me, it just those pills made me just feel like it's just overwhelming confidence and like
Yeah.
satisfaction with
Well,
yourself.
it's like a form of heroin almost.
Yeah.
Like it's the same like drug category. So somebody probably knows, but it's like in the same like class, I think.
Like I just remember like driving around and I was like looking at people and I was like, suck my dick. Like I'm better than you. Like I can do anything. Like I can pick up any amount of weight at the gym. Like, man, like, dude, I'm the best person on this planet. Like, I was just, it's like it just turns you into this like, you think you're like a demigod or something. That's how it affected me. I was just crazily confident in myself. And then eventually I would like cool off and be like, whoa, what? Like, what was I thinking? Like,
Yeah, those are crazy. I remember I had like one left and I was like, all right, I'm
go.
gonna take this and never take these unless I get surgery again. And I haven't.
Yeah.
So it's I'd rather randomly smoke a weed every once in a while than ever
A weed.
have to take those. I'll take a weed every once in a while.
A single weed.
A single weed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, have you ever had an edible?
No, I haven't done that.
I don't like edibles as much.
Okay.
So I've only had it 3 times. 2 were blueberries.
Okay.
And they're like chocolate covered blueberries, but they're, it's like weed chocolate.
Yeah.
That was in California because Jesse had them. He's like, "You want a weed blueberry?" The one time we were in Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a weed
You're
blueberry.
eating weed in Disneyland?
Well, it was a weed blueberry. He's
there
like, "Hey,
were
you want
children.
one?"
What if a child came up to you and was like, "Hey, can I get some of that blueberry?"
I'd be like, "No, they're mine, you shit."
You're ruining the most magical place on earth for that poor child.
But enhancing it for myself. So we went to the Nightmare Before Christmas, and that was an experience because you're just like walking around. You're just like, "Oh my god, like I'm in the nightmare."
Before Christmas.
Yeah. So you like sit on the ride and you're just like, "Whoa," and then it wears off. But
oh my god, how long does it last?
Like an hour. Okay. I mean, it's only a blueberry. It's not like you're eating a whole.
No, that's true.
Like a brownie or what people make. The other time, it was New Year's Eve, and we went to our friend's house, and they had like cookies that they got from Colorado, and they're like, "You only eat half a cookie." So I was like, "All right, whatever." So we had that, and we were watching Harry Potter.
Okay.
And I remember being on my phone, waiting for it to kick in, and it kicked in, and I went to like text. And I remember like if I was like, I had the keyboard, and when I hit a letter, you know how the thing like pops up like,
yeah.
It was like that in slow motion. It was the weirdest feel. It was like being underwater. It was like, and I was like, what the shit is going on? Like, it freaked me out. And then I just sat there being like, I don't think I like this.
Yeah, dude.
And I remember everybody was kind of like the one girl there. She just had anxiety, and it was like I think everybody was just freaked out. And then the one guy who didn't do it, he was like, "You guys want to get milkshakes?" And I was like, "I cannot drive."
Yeah.
He was like, "All right, well, I'll drive." And then he drove us to get milkshakes, and they were good.
Yeah.
But the edible, like if I had another edible or if I bought one from the legal weed store, it'd probably be like really, really small things.
Yeah.
Where it's like not going to give you that big of a high. Because I don't like edible highs.
Of course.
So.
But you know what you do like?
Well, if I had to say something I like, it'd probably be sweatpants I'm wearing.
Dude, sweatpants? Where could you get some amazing sweatpants by chance?
Well, these amazing sweatpants are available at Crensloth.com, you see, because Crensloth.com is a place. Crensloth.com. You also can get mugs. And if you bundle sweatpants with a mug, and you get 10% off your order and free shipping.
Wow, isn't that amazing? And hey, while you're buying Crensloth sweatpants and mugs to sip your coffee in, why not get a nice comfy shirt to wear on the Nixxiom's Corner store? All of this shit, by the way, is linked down in the description below. Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That's insane.
Listen, guys. Like, I mean, I'm not going to put sad music into this podcast, but just imagine sad music. Crendor, play sad music for me. Quieter. Listen, guys, like, we don't actually have a sponsor, because no one actually loves us. So we got to, like, sponsor ourselves, okay? That's all I'm trying to say. All right, so check out our merch. It supports us, and it supports the podcast, and we appreciate it. That's it.
Buy our stuff.
Crensloth.com.
Crensloth.com.
Nixxiom's Corner, Teespring. Thank you. Nailed it.
Nailed it, dude.
Yeah, dude. Now, well, let's continue with the stories, because you told like some blueberry stories, but I got one more.
All right.
This happened quite literally less than 2 days ago.
Oh, okay.
All right. Here's what happened. It's a pretty simple story.
Okay.
But, like, okay, I've smoked weed since that first occasion, maybe, I think in total, 4 times, counting this story that I'm about to say. All right. The second and third time, there's nothing to say. I smoked it like one hit. I pretty much felt nothing. Nothing changed. And I, like I was, yeah, like nothing. There's nothing to say. But this time, it was like 2 days ago at my girlfriend's house again. They got that weed. I'm smoking said weed. And here's the thing. I take one hit of this like bong, and it wasn't a very good hit. Like, understand, guys, that I'm a pipe smoker and a cigar smoker. So it's kind of weird for me to like inhale smoke, because that's not what you do with pipes and cigars. So I felt like I didn't really inhale it. I mostly just kind of pulled it into my mouth and puffed it. So I took like a hit and like nothing happened. So I took another hit. This one was a bit more proper, I felt, but not perfect. Didn't really feel any different about 3 or 5 minutes later. Took 2 more hits, but both of them I was like, oh, these weren't good. I don't feel like I actually like properly inhaled it. Took another hit. This one was a proper one. I was like, oh yeah, like this was, yeah, that was a good one. Still didn't feel any different. Took another hit. Again, I felt like I didn't inhale it properly. Took one more proper hit. In the end, I took like 8 hits of this bong. And some of those hits that I thought, oh, I don't think I really inhaled it properly. I think mostly I just puffed it without realizing it, just subconsciously doing it from all my years of smoking cigars. No, I think I inhaled it because, oh my God, it was like a shovel hit me. I was just like, whoa. Like suddenly, like, like it just all at once, like, whoa, like friggin' like 8 or 7 hits of weed just like exploded in my brain. And I remember, this is what I remember. I was sitting on the couch outside, or the chair or whatever, and next thing I knew, I was inside naked, laying in my girlfriend's bed. And I was all alone in there. And I remember she had said, oh, I'm going to go outside real fast and talk to my roommate. I'll be right back. And I was like, okay. And I remember laying there and I was looking around the room and I was like, oh my God, dude, I cannot remember the plot to The Lord of the Rings. And I was freaking out because I could not remember what happened in The Lord of the Rings. And I love Lord of the Rings. I was just like I was getting scared. I was like, oh, there was the Hobbit and the ring, and then something happened. Like, what happened? And I remember she walked in the room and she was like, hey, I'm back. And I was like, babe, I can't remember what happened in The Lord of the Rings. And she was like, oh my God, you are so high again. And then I just laid there like, the first time I got high, I just wouldn't shut the fuck up. I was silly. I was a loopy. I was role-playing as Noah. This time, I was just, like, laying there, like, in dead silence, just staring into the abyss. And I remember she was, like, talking to me, but I was not paying attention. Like, I don't remember anything she said to me. I just remember thinking, oh my God, I can't remember the Lord of the Rings movies or the books. And then the next thing I knew, I just woke up like the next morning and I was like, damn, I slept good.
That's so weird.
But dude, then the story gets even crazier because, all right, that weed is still in my system. And like later that day, like I didn't like feel like weird the next day after I woke up. But later on in that afternoon, I had bought a cigar and I brought it, or I bought the cigar from a shop, brought it back to her house. We're sitting on the back patio and I'm smoking this cigar. Never have smoked this brand before. Don't remember what it was called, but it was a bit of a stronger cigar. So I quickly get cigar high off this thing after about 15 or 20 minutes. So I'm like in cigar zen mode. And then all of a sudden, all that fucking weed high just like comes back, like boom. So I'm like tobacco high and cigar high, or I'm cigar high and weed high at the same time. And I remember just laying on this back patio, like watching the sun going down. And I was just like, dude, what the fuck? Like just looking at all the colors, like the oranges and blues and purples of the sunset. And I do not remember what I said. I just remember I was looking at the dark silhouette of the trees against the sky. And I was like, I said something to the effect of like you ever think about how like the colors of nature are like the expressions of the gods, you know? And I started just going on this like small rant about color and how like color is like the soul of the universe and shit. And it was real deep, but I don't remember any of it. I just remember it was real deep and like poetic and philosophical, and I felt like a really smart person. And then, I don't know, everything's just kind of a blur for about 2 hours. Like just something happened. I think I just laid there, and then suddenly I was eating pizza. And I like that pizza. That was some good ass pizza.
It makes me think like every everyone talks about how like when stoners get high or whatever, they're just like, what if my head was a balloon, man, or shit like that.
Yeah.
But like, what if really smart people got high, like genius
me.
level, like you, yeah,
Like me.
and it's like, would they come up with like crazy and like new ideas and inventions? Like maybe it just depends on the person getting high and whether or not their thoughts are going to be dumb or not.
Dude, you could like all right, think about it. Like balloons. Put a person inside of a balloon and they could just like bounce in any direction. You know? Like, how crazy would that be? You just put them like in an anti-gravity room up in like space and shit, and you just like bounce around.
Yeah.
In the
yeah. One thing I noticed, like a lot of the thoughts I have are thoughts that I have anyway, but they just kind of get magnified.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what it does, is it just lowers your brain inhibition. I don't know what that shit does, because it's like they haven't really been able to study weed. You know what I mean? Because it's been illegal, but now that's becoming more legal. They're able to study it a bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what they find.
All I know is that when it comes to smoking weed, in the few times that I've smoked it, or these like 2 extreme times, my girlfriend and her roommate and my friends have told me, like, dude, like, when Nixxiom gets high, like, he gets fucked up. Like, it's like, and apparently, I mean, I don't remember everything, but apparently I just turn into a massive, complete, moronic goofball. Like, and that's me. Like, I am the stereotypical stoner, apparently. Yeah, dude.
Well,
yeah,
that's pretty much all the. No, it's like all the weed stories I got.
All right, man. Well, should we wrap it up here? I mean, we've been talking for about 43 minutes. It hits about our 45-minute mark.
Yeah, let's say we wrap it up here.
All right. Well, guys, I'll say this, and then I'll let you have the outro. Nixxiom. Crendor. No, I'm Nixxiom. I was going to say, guys, thank you for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to go check out Crendor's Crensloth website. Be sure to go
Crensloth.com.
Crensloth.com. Be sure to check out my store over on Teespring, Nixxiom's Corner. Check out some shirts and mugs and other things. You can get sweaters, choose whatever you want after you click the design that you want. And we'll definitely share some more stories as time goes on, because I'm pretty sure at some point I'm going to end up smoking weed again and some crazy shit's going to happen, and I would be more than happy to share it with you guys and embarrass myself online. That's right.
Yeah, and I'll get my legal weed.
Yeah, you can try your legal. We'll make another podcast called like Weed 2 Electric Boogaloo or something. And you can share your legal weed stories, and I'll share my getting fucked up stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. All right, that's all I gotta say. You can say whatever you want, Crendor, to wrap things up, and just say goodbye to him.
Yeah, subscribe, hit the bell, buy our stuff, and see you.